Hi, Tom Cole for the Steve Taylor Community Connection, and certainly an honor and privilege to welcome in somebody I've known for basically a lifetime. I do believe Dr. Burton Rodgers from Mercy Health. Doc, thanks so much for being with us today.
A pleasure to be here. I do appreciate the invite.
A little bio on Doc, outstanding football player at Bowser High School back in the early days. We go back that far. And Ashland College, outstanding player, back to Bowser, a great football coach, coached against Doc in football, and he was a terrific football coach. Then kinesiology, the program there, you have helped so many athletes in our community over the years, and with doing a great job with Mercy Health. The indelible imprint you've made on the athletic world in our community is unbelievable. You should be so proud of how many kids that you've helped to overcome injuries, to be able to get healthy again, get back and complete their sport or have that opportunity, because you know how important those opportunities are.
Sure.
You did it.
Yeah.
Civilians say, oh well, it's just a sport. You're not, if you don't play, you don't play. Well, back that truck up, because if it's you and you're the kid and you're in the sport, it's everything at that time. And you've helped so many kids. It's got to feel great, Doc, to have that in your resume.
It is, and it's not only the players that impacts, but also the players' families. There's nothing worse from a parent standpoint is when you have a child that's been injured.
Yep.
And it means so much not only to the player, but to the family of those that contribute to allowing that player to come back or continue life in a safer, healthier manner. So the impact, I find, is beyond the player.
Yeah, gotcha. It ripples out into the family.
Oh, for sure it does.
And you cover all the sports and do it so very, very well. You're such a talented guy, but people don't realize when you get injured in football, let's say you're a starter and you're a go-to person or a quarterback or whatever, and you might be a main focus person. Football's an odd thing, and that when you're hurt and you can't contribute, it's like you're from another planet. You immediately start feeling like you're not part of it. It goes on and somebody takes your spot and suddenly you're standing off to the side. And I've had that experience, and you go from the focus to suddenly nobody knows you're even there because you're hurt. And it's an interesting phenomenon, especially in football.
Well, it is. And the statement that you often hear in sports and in coaching, or coaches use, is next man up or next woman up, right?
Yeah.
So if you're the player that's hurt,
Yeah.
there's going to be a next man or a next woman that steps up.
Yeah.
And when they step up, you feel like you've got to step back.
Yeah.
And that is emotionally a difficult thing to handle. And when you think about a high school football season, if you don't make it into the playoffs, that's 10 weeks.
Yep.
And if you're a senior on that team, you've got 10 weeks of something that you've prepared all year for.
Yeah.
And to go down with an injury that may cost you, that whole season or part of that season, it makes it difficult to internalize, because you spent all year getting ready, and now we've lost part of that. And because you as a player have lost part of that, it goes back to what we said before. You hurt, your family hurts.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond the injury itself.
Doc, the stands fans, I always call them stands fans. To me, they don't understand what it really does mean to a young man or young woman to compete. I can still remember bits and parts of games in high school that are vivid. I mean,
sure.
Where I didn't complete that pass, or I didn't, I fumbled the ball, or did something. I mean, there are certain games that you replay sometimes in dreams, and you're just like, it's 50 years from that time period, but that's how impactful. So when somebody says, well, it's just a season, they don't really understand what you deal with young athletes.
Well, those that say it's just a season or it's just a game, really it's a short-sighted outlook, because they really have no idea of the total package that it took to get to play in that game on that play. The two-a-day practices, the practices during the week, the off-season conditioning that now is hugely intensive.
Yeah.
And so to make that statement is really short-sighted, because they really don't have a lot of appreciation of what it took to get there, to play in that game on that play.
Well, I think you understand it so well because you've seen it from so many vantage points. You've seen it as a great player, a great coach. You watched your son, I know for sure, play, right? So you've seen the player, the coach, the dad, right? And then as this brilliant kinesiologist, that trainer that gets these kids back, boys and girls, gets them back on the field or on the court. So you've seen it from every direction, and you know how valuable sports are to young people. I mean, they're intrinsically important in the school year.
Well, my daughter played 4 years of Division I college volleyball.
Wow.
So I appreciate what it took for her to get there. I appreciate what it took for my son to get through sports that he participated in. And there's also a financial piece.
Yeah.
That financial piece is our daughter playing at the Division I college level was less of a financial burden that we had to bear.
Right.
So there are a ton of things that go into it, both social, financial, dedication, loyalty, and commitment.
Well, on the flip side of that, you getting your kids that you treat back in action faster is a benefit to the parents, just off of your comment that youngster gets more games in, they get more videotape, more tape's going to go out to colleges. There are more opportunities for that youngster to get a scholarship. If they're hurt on the sideline, ain't much of a videotape on the sideline, right? You got to be in the game to to get some. Doc, you've been Mercy Health and you have been a great partner to Taylor Automotive. We partnered in the All-Star game in a couple of years. Wonderful scenario. We'll see what rolls out this year. If they have, they play. Hopefully they do, but we'll see. It'll eventually come back and happen again, especially when they get a vaccine. But you've been a great partner. Now you're partnering with Taylor again in Light the Night for the helping patients and families that are devastated by lymphoma and leukemia. So you really partnered with Taylor. You make a difference at Mercy Health in the community. That's part of your mantra at Mercy Health, right?
Oh, for sure, absolutely. I think partnerships are huge, especially when you have partners and stakeholders with mutual high-level interest, as we have. It is difficult for anybody in any field to take it on independently.
Yes.
I mean, you need partners to get it done. And the more partners you have that are good partners, the better job you can do going forward. That's exactly why we are here with Taylor, knowing that level of commitment that you guys bring to the table. We bring an equitable amount of commitment to the table, and it's a partnership that we saw to be very successful in the All-Star game, and we are expecting it to carry over here, for sure.
Doc, a lot of times you can get one word that fits a person. With you, to me, we have a lifelong partnership in sports, coaching against one another. We may have played against each other. I don't remember. Played Bowser in 67 or 68. I don't know.
One game we did. The last game of my senior year. Okay. Probably would have been the last game your junior year.
Okay.
In a Bug Bowl over at Longview High School.
Okay, I got
Saturday night.
Okay, I got that now. But one word for you is integrity, and in everything you do, from a player to a coach to a dad to the doctor at a great physician, a doctor at a trainer at Mercy Health, it's integrity. And I think in our community, we need role models. Not just we ask kids to be role models to other kids, but I think we need adults to be role models for other adults. How we treat one another, how we interact in business, how we act as a parent. That adult, nobody talks about that, but adult role models to adults are important. And you've been that your whole life, and we're proud to associate with you and Mercy Health, and hopefully down the road we'll have many more collaborations. What I'm going to do, Doc, is I'm going to hand you off now to my great friend, Mr. Terry Crosby, who's the really a talented ambassador for Taylor Automotive.
Hi, this is Terry Crosby on the Steve Taylor Community Connection. We have Dr. Burton here today. Doc, how you doing, man?
Any better, I'd be you. I'm outstanding. Thank you.
Good.
And I hope you are as well.
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate that. And just on the tail end of what Tom Cole was just talking about, we're both sports enthusiasts. We love the games of every different type of sport. But I believe you went to Bowser High School. And you were a great, outstanding football player at Bowser. And I wonder if I can ask you a question, because the guy that I'm getting ready to mention right now, Mr. Melvin Gaines.
Sure.
With the bow legs.
Yeah, of course I do.
Shifty, stop on the dime, move directions. He was my idol. I don't know if you realize that, but I was kind of like his flunky boy at two-a-days at DeVilbiss High School when he was a sophomore, junior. I was much younger. I used to look up to this guy like he was God. And I believe you guys played against Mel and the DeVilbiss Tigers at Page Stadium. Is that correct?
We did.
And what year was that? You remember?
Yeah, I do remember. That would have been the season of 1967.
So Mel would have been a sophomore or a junior?
I believe a junior.
A junior, okay. That was one of his better years. So can you just, and I'm kind of reflecting on this, could you just, I know you got a very, very good memory.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just explain to us how that game went and what happened, and did Mel break away?
Well, I'll tell you what, we did not play well. I think they got, as I recall, 40 on us. I'm not sure of those 40 how many Mel contributed to, whether it's a touchdown or not, but I know that he gained a ton of yardage. And I also know that he was one of the very best to hit the cutback seam.
Yes.
And if he got a step on you, well, you didn't even need a step. If you got any part of a step on you, there's no way you're going to catch him.
Right.
So, he was a great player. I
Right.
remember it like it was yesterday.
Right.
Well, I mean, when you get shellacked 40 to zip or whatever that score was, those things tend to stay with you for a while. So, I do remember him.
Thank you. And what position did you play?
I played linebacker and
Okay.
offensive tackle.
Okay.
That's when offensive tackles were 205.
Right.
Unlike now, 305.
Oh, 405.
Yeah, that's right.
But good. I really, really appreciate that, because I'm trying to fight. I know Tom Cole is on the City Hall of Fame committee, and I've spoken to Tom a number of times. I'm trying to get Mel inducted into the Toledo City League Hall of Fame. So that was one of the things I wanted to speak to you about, that particular game against the DeVilbiss.
Yeah, I remember it. It was a long time ago, but I can remember trying to tackle him.
Right. And we are forever grateful and blessed that we have Mercy Health this year joining us in our fight against blood cancers with leukemia and lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for being a partner in this. But one thing I wanted to ask you from your perspective, we've compiled a wonderful executive committee board, as you know. I think we're really proud about that. But this year's Light the Night event, with Mercy being a partner, with Taylor Automotive being a partner, with the strong force and team that we have in regards to our executive board members, you are also a part of that board.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to ask you, can you give me some insight, some passion in regards to what does that mean to you, being a big part, an integral part of this year's LAS event?
Well, within my family, we have had 7 cancer victims, two of which were blood-related cancers. So I bring an internal commitment to make this work because of the impact cancers have had on my immediate and distant family. And when you bring that personal commitment because of having to work through that, it brings an additional level of drive to make sure that this venture that we're on is successful. And we know that research, helping families that are suffering with blood-related cancers, either directly or indirectly, there's a cost to do that. And anything that I can do, that Mercy can do, and I'm sure Tara Linker also feels the same way, anything we can do to make this viable and profitable so we can take that revenue and help those that are in need, we are all for that.
Okay. You know, I really, really appreciate that, because I think just raising that awareness that this type of blood cancer is not immune to anybody. We are all subject to that. So it's very important that we raise the awareness. This just not about a specific demographic. This is for what we do in our cause and our passion. This is for to try to make life a little bit easier for everybody. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, when you think about that statement you just made, and you think about the virus that's now going around, how often you now hear that nobody's exempt from this virus. The same thing applies to cancer-related illness. Nobody's exempt, and it doesn't matter age, gender, race. Nobody's exempt, and everybody needs to be more aware of that fact alone, that it doesn't matter where you live, where you came from, and where you're going. You're not exempt.
And so we are so proud to partner with Mercy Health this year. Thank you so very much for coming in. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much for the invite.
Terry Crosby from the Taylor Community Connection.